The next question is for Dr. Krauss.
My name is Daniel Foster, and I'm from the UNC Greensboro Atheists, Agnostics, and Skeptics group. Number one, anything that exists has an explanation. Number two, God exists. Number three, if God exists, a cosmic fluffy crushiness is the explanation. Number four, a super cosmic fluffy crushiness exists. Dr. Krauss, can you explain why that is equally absurd as Dr. Craig's first point in his presentation?
I thought you were making a comment. I was sure the judge was going to stop you there, but
I was close.
Well, look, I think the point you're making. Let me rephrase it in a way that I understand. Is that the question has to arise: what's the cause of God? If everything has an explanation, what's the explanation of God? And you can always ask. You can be like a child and continue to ask that question ad nauseum. Why? And the interesting thing is, we don't know the answer. But what seems to me is that what people say is, I get tired of asking that question, so I'm going to stop and just call it God. And that's what bothers me. It just seems intellectually lazy. Because I don't know if there's an ultimate answer. There may be no ultimate answer. That's what I was going to show from Feynman. There may be no ultimate answer to the universe. There may be no ultimate theory. But at some point, if I just stop and throw up my hands and say, God, it's just a lazy way of saying, I don't know.
Thank you. Rebuttal?
Well, what's lazy is to stop arbitrarily when you get to the universe. That's what's committing the taxicab fallacy, to accept the principle of sufficient reason everywhere else until you get to the universe and then arbitrarily stop there. The theist doesn't arbitrarily stop when he gets to God as the explanatory ultimate. God has an explanation of his existence. Everything that exists has an explanation, either in the necessity of its own nature or if it's contingent in an external cause. God exists by a necessity of his own nature. Even the atheist recognizes that. If a being has a cause, it isn't God, because God, by definition, is the metaphysical ultimate. So when you get to God, you've reached a metaphysically necessary being which has no cause of its existence, and its existence is explained by the fact that it exists by a necessity of its own nature, just like mathematical objects and other abstract objects. And that's why you don't run into the slushy crush or whatever it is that you were talking about. It would be logically impossible for God to be caused by a slushy crush or whatever it is. I was simply saying that this is not a mere matter of speculation, that there's more than a tiny bit of evidence on the table.
But is he saying...
Evidence for what?
Evidence for a beginning of the universe.
Yes,
well, we know that. Nobody
All right, well, that's what I'm offering in this first argument, is the evidence.
But because it's the beginning doesn't imply a God.
It does if the first premise is true, that whatever begins to exist has a cause. It logically follows.
Yeah,
that
but the cause hasn't got to be God.
Well, remember I gave an argument for thinking that this cause is timeless, spaceless, immaterial, enormously powerful, and personal.
I think it's a computer.
Well, that wouldn't... computers are designed by people.
No, this is a self-designing computer.
Timeless.
Timeless.
Well, that's a contradiction in terms.
Why is it timeless? What's contradictory about it?
A computer has to function. It takes time.
No, this is a special computer.
Yeah, but it has to be logically coherent.
Oh, it's logically coherent?
Yes, you have to be logically coherent.
Oh, no, this computer is amazing.
No, besides, it would have to be, as I said, a personal being.
No.
A computer is a physical
Not this computer.
object.
Oh, no.
Okay, see, what you're doing is what you're calling a computer is really God. A non-physical, It's just another word if you rob it of all the attributes that make it a computer.